Hello, freak bitches.
And then he has a good time debunking things, but he has an official story mentality is what I would call it, where no matter what, like there's people that are objective and there's people that are debunkers, and he's a debunker. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's wrong about a lot of stuff, but it does mean that he goes into things with the intention to debunk and the intention to almost always gravitate towards an official story. Yeah.
Every single time. He
wonder if
believes,
there'd
he
been a time
believes
where he
Lee
hadn't.
Harvey Oswald acted alone.
Yeah, that's a goofy
Come
one.
on, man.
That one's goofy.
He believes Tower 7 collapsed at free fall speed because of fires.
There's a lot of people that believe that. Unfortunately, I'm not a fucking engineer. I would like to know whether or not it's possible to burn a building so bad inside that it does collapse like that.
It's impossible.
I don't know if that's true.
All you have to do is talk to engineers and architects. I've talked to them. You could
right,
you
but
could
it's
hear them
not
talk.
all of them. That's the thing.
There's no architects that outside of NIST, a government agency. There's no architects fighting for to debunk the Tower 7. There's none. And every
I don't know if that's true, Eddie. And neither do you. I don't know if you know that there's like. Know. But there's got to be some architects and engineers that don't think that building fell because it was demolished.
When they look, well, if you understand how there's about 100,000 architects and engineers in the associations, like the American Association of Architects and there's about 100,000, and Richard Gage, he's one of them, and he didn't know anything about. He thought it wasn't an inside job. It took him years, and then. He didn't really know about Tower 7. Most of them don't know about Tower 7. What he does now, he discovered it, and what he does now is just go from convention to convention, sitting 15 architects down at a time, and boom, about 99% of them, they all believe it. They didn't even know there was a third tower. It was not in the media that much. They basically ignored it.
I think that's crazy. I think by this time everybody knows about Tower 7.
They still don't know. Most people don't know. No, but they don't talk about it on the mainstream media. How could anybody know?
But people have talked about it enough online to the point
maybe
where I don't
now
think
more than ever, but still now more than ever, yes. They hear about that Tower 7 thing, but they don't really know the details. They just kind of just know about it, you know?
Did you ever see the video that shows the full collapse, which takes a lot longer? You see the first collapse. It was the top of the thing falls into the center, and
that's the elevators.
It happens. Yeah.
They explain architects and engineers. I've sat with them. I'm no structural engineer, but you tell them common sense.
What did they say to you?
This is what's. If someone told you, there's 85 columns that hold up Tower 7, and if someone told you, if a structural engineer told you, would you think he was crazy or would you believe him? If he said, and it makes sense. I mean, it's common sense. The only way you're going to get a building to come down like that, any building, any structure, is you have to blow up all 80 columns at the same time. Otherwise, it won't go down like that. To me, that's common sense. To someone who believes NIST, the government agency, said, no, that's not true. One column went and then it spiraled out of control because of fires. When you talk to structural engineers, I've had Richard Gage on my podcast twice. Every time he comes back, he gets more. He just piles on more. He goes, all I got to do is sit him down. They don't know. Nobody knows. That's the truth.
See, has he ever debated someone who's like an opposing viewpoint?
Nobody will debate him.
Or structural engineer?
No, nobody's backing him.
This is what he says. People would, though.
No, because when they look into it, it's common sense. Anybody knows.
So you think that they know that it's not true? They think that Tower 7 was an inside job, and they don't want to debate it because they can't win. Do you really think they think that?
No, say that again?
So you think the people that are debunking it, so like if he's got this opinion,
there's no architects and engineers debunking it. That's already looked into. That's already been done and said. That's
but
old news.
There's got to be architects and engineers that disagree. Come on, man. You don't think there's any people that disagree?
Find a video of a real, not a government agency.
I mean, it's
not a government agency.
Jamie, see if you can pull up.
But doesn't that make sense?
What makes sense?
An engineer told you, a dude who builds skyscrapers told you to your face, like I've been told to my face. They said the only way that thing, and you see it on video, engineer after engineer after engineer. Are they all crazy? Engineer after engineer. They go, it's impossible when you look into it. It's impossible for a building to collapse like that unless all 80 columns are blown up at the same time.
We've covered this, but here's the thing. I don't know anything about engineering. I don't know if you have diesel fires that get out of control, if it weakens the entire structure where it just collapses like that. I don't know if that's possible.
What would you, if you have guests all the time that are experts in fields that you're not experts in, but when you sit here,
I find out sometimes they're wrong too. Unfortunately,
sometimes
I
they're
let
right.
a guy ramble about some stuff, and then they find out that they're making some of it up, or that some of it's based on pseudoscience.
This is all like,
does happen.
No, but an engineer, a guy who builds.
I understand.
This is.
Right.
Doesn't it make sense?
Jamie,
doesn't that make sense?
Google, try to figure out, who resists architects and engineers? What is it?
I'm reading right now an article from the Boston Globe that talks about truthers in 9/11, and Richard Gage has talked about.
Yeah,
and I think they're
going to smear.
Hold on, don't talk.
They might have interviewed him, and I'm trying to figure out what they're talking about.
There's got to be some architects or engineers that have had a conversation or a debate with someone who believes that it couldn't possibly have fallen any other way.
Okay, maybe they're out there. There's
but
no
I don't know.
documentaries.
Here's the thing: I don't know shit. I don't know how my fucking computer works. I don't know.
Well, how do you know anything?
Who constructs a jet?
How do you know anything? You know a lot of shit. You know a lot of shit. How do you know?
But if somebody wanted to argue with me about the components and how they worked on a laptop, I would have to go, wow, you're probably right. I'll have to talk to some computer engineer who's going to tell me the actual reality of it.
I've talked
more
to
than
dudes
one.
who build buildings. I've had them on my podcast.
I'm sure, but I just can't believe that all of the people that build buildings think it's an inside job. So
okay, what if 90%? Okay, what if 90%?
That would be pretty impressive.
If 90%
that'd be pretty impressive.
It was a
shit. 50% would be impressive.
Exactly. It's
50% would be impressive.
It's about in the 90s.
I don't know if that's right. So I don't know where you're getting that number.
I'm getting it from Richard Gage, who's the head of
architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth.
Yeah, and
right?
every year they add another couple hundred.
I understand, but
they keep adding.
But he might be a little biased, right? I mean, if he's the head of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, and he tells you that 90% of the architects and engineers out there think it's an inside job, it might be a little biased. I don't know if that's true, and I don't think you do necessarily either. I think we're just guessing.
I believe it. 100%.
I would love to see an architect or an engineer that disagreed with him talk to him about it and go over the data. Because until that happens, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Nobody argues with him. Nobody debates.
That's got to be. There's got to be someone who debunks that guy. Everybody debunks everybody.
No, they definitely a smear campaign. Are you kidding?
Right, but is it a smear campaign, or is it just that they're saying things that he's saying that aren't correct?
It's not just him. He's just one.
I understand.
He's one of many. It's common sense, dude.
Maybe. Okay.
It's just like
right, but I don't know. I don't know anything about making buildings. I don't know anything about what it takes for a building to collapse. I don't know.
Totally. I don't know either. Maybe it got hot. I believe
it's not just hot. It's
I believe
diesel fires from giant tanks of gas that were in the basement.
I want to believe that. I want to believe that fires made it hot. I don't want to believe they blew it up because that's scary.
I wonder.
So I want to believe the fire.
If a fire is in a basement and the fire has diesel fuel and it's burning at some insane temperature and there's fucking shitloads of diesel fuel down there, I wonder what effect that has. I don't know. Do you?
I'm pretty sure, based on my life's experience, that that's not going to bring down a building.
A lot of diesel fuel life experience.
Based on common sense, it's common sense that if a building's going to fall at free fall speed, boom, like that. If a engineer after engineer after engineer, at some point I'm going to believe them. At some point I'm not going to.
I understand, Eddie, but I don't know if you've necessarily looked into the engineers that disagree. I
know there's a smear campaign.
But have you looked into the engineers that disagree?
There's none. There's none. There's no documentary.
There's gotta be.
There's no documentary.
But a documentary.
Find a documentary. If there is,
what about just articles? Do they have to
No.
make a documentary for it to make sense?
What was that?
What if it's an article? What if it's a peer-reviewed paper? What if it's some sort of?
Those are all, dude. That's a smear campaign. There's that side. There's the elite that don't want this out, and then there's people trying to get the truth out. So the elite have the control of the media. So how are you going to? They have paid shills on. You think that they would have dropped the ball big time, like Ernest Biner in 1987 for the Browns. They would have dropped the ball if you don't have paid shills online strategically pushing the agenda. Come on,
okay.
They're all over the internet.
Up, Jamie? What were you about to pull up?
There's a bunch of fake shit on him.
What, Jamie?
I'm lost. I was stuck on this Richard Gage thing that I was trying to debunk, see if anybody's debunking him. I'm looking at Twitter to see if
just an engineer that cares.
Hold on, don't talk
over.
I'm
looking around. I'm just looking around. The Boston Globe article says that there's a small vocal subset of people, of engineers that are with this Richard Gage guy.
That's what I had read. I never read that it was like some overwhelming number. Just keep stirring.
I'm digging.
It's hard because it's fun. It's exciting. It's exciting to think that there's some sort of a gigantic
what?
cabal of super
You know
geniuses that run the world, and they decided to blow up Tower 7.
You know what's funny about the moon? Fuck Tower 7.
Jesus
you can believe
Christ.
it or not, I don't even
You want
give
to
a
talk
shit.
about the UFC
you know,
at
what-
all?
you know,
or
you know
no?
what's crazy about the moon?
What?
Is the hardest shit ever accomplished, the greatest by the human race. The
Right.
greatest accomplishment ever was landing on the moon, right? Right? So you would think, holy shit balls.
I don't think it
Those,
is.
No, listen. Okay, but let's just, at the time.
At the time.
No
I
one's
think the
done it since?
internet is the biggest.
Okay, but I'm just talking about like a physical achievement. 3 dudes, they got shot up in a rocket. They were in a orbiter, and then the orbiter shot out the lunar, like the LEM, and then it lands. They played golf, went doom bug riding, did donuts in the sand. They take pictures. They get back in, take off, dock with that orbiter, and then fly back. That's the hardest shit ever. No one died. And dude, can you imagine that second mission 6 months later? They did it again when they had to break the news that they were going to use different astronauts. Because every mission they use different astronauts. Wouldn't you think they would?
Like a show? Like have the same star over and over again?
No, the 3 dudes have pulled it off.
Keep doing it?
Dude, are you kidding? They did it before.
Yeah, but they don't want to keep doing it. What if it fucks you up? Every time you do it.
What if they were planning on using Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, but they just fucking got like egos and
cocky.
shit. They started going to clubs and
Flava
fucking
Flav clocks
yeah. They were
on,
like,
fur coats,
they
no
wanted to
shirt.
renegotiate their contract because they probably went to the moon for like $70,000. You know what I mean? They got that government check. They go,
You
we'll
think they
get
even
you,
got
we'll
that
get you
much?
on the second album or on the second, just like the record business. You know what I mean?
I
That
bet you
first
they didn't
album,
even make that much.
they, of course, they say, listen, we'll get you on the second and third landings, bro. Do you know how much money you're gonna make? You're gonna come back. You're gonna be famous. You're gonna be fucking doing all sorts of press. Think about the bitches. Think about the coke. All that shit. They probably got blowed out and got too cocky and wanted to renegotiate.
Oh my God.
And then NASA said, we just got to go with some new dudes.
They made $8 per diem. When Uncle Sam fucks you raw dog, he uses sand. Uncle Sam uses broken glass on his dick when he raw dogs
you think those guys went to the moon?
Why wouldn't you think they went to the moon? They're not
Come
handsome
on.
enough?
Come on, that dude in the middle, the dude in the middle,
didn't actually go to the moon.
Was hovering in an orbiter. He was hovering in an orbiter, and they landed some little piece of shit, lunar lander, the LEM.
Right.
And then they took and they show the only time ever they got one shot of it taking off, and whatever was filming it followed it all the way up.
Yeah.
Like who was
Remote
the official
control,
story
bro. It was
is
on a timer.
Yeah, no. There was a live remote control. That's what they said that they could control from
Earth.
from Houston.
Yeah, for sure. That works. Dude, I couldn't get my
It's so
cell phone to work on Laurel Canyon.
The moon landings are so goddamn ridiculous. Oh fucking! There's video of them like just maybe 100,000 feet in the air, and they're like filming it, making it look, they're manipulating. What the fuck? Come on.
That video is strange.
That's a damning.
I've never seen anybody
that's some
explain
damning
that
shit.
video.